Hey everyone, I'm Yanitza Munoz, and you're watching Green Talk by Green Care Solutions on iHeartRadio, KCAA, NBC Radio, and Spotify. Today, we have MMA fighter and former UFC champion Tito Ortiz as a guest, along with radio personality Domenick Nati. Now, before we get into the show, I'm going to briefly explain to you what Green Talk is all about. And also on the table, we have Savvy Socks. Savvy Socks is a great sock company where you can customize your own socks. You can find them at Savvy Socks. That's their Instagram. And obviously, we have Green Care Solutions. You can find them at Green Care Solutions 420. And I'm here with my lovely co-hosts.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Angela Mazzanti, here yet again.
It's your boy, Brian, representing Green Care Solutions as always.
Now, this is a cannabis-friendly and educational program. You must be 21 years of age to listen, and we're not doctors, but Green Care Solutions has doctors for you.
And if you have any questions, go ahead and give us a call at 951-609-4071. We are an 8-time award-winning company and just featured in Forbes last month.
Yeah, so now let's get into the show. Thank you so much, Tito Ortiz, for coming on today, and also
Welcome.
Domenick as well.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us. I appreciate it.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Well, I know, Domenick, you came in from Florida. Tito's a local Orange County, so wasn't
Yes.
too far for you.
Well, 20 minutes. I'm close.
Yeah, 20
Huntington
minutes.
Beach.
Yes. So, Tito, you've had such an amazing career. And also, you've been training so long, like, as an MMA fighter. Now, I know a lot of people that already know you and follow you, but for a lot of people who are just tuning in, like, when you started in mixed martial arts, did you ever expect blowing up to be what you are today? I mean, you've had such a great career. It's been 20 years now since you just keep going.
Actually.
22 years, yes.
I could date myself right now. But I know I feel better now than I did when I was 34. I guess the surgeries went through perfect. But I think it's just the mindset at home. You know, everything is in a positive manner. My girlfriend, Amber Nicole Miller, is an amazing mother to my children. They're not biologically her kids, but she took the role as a mother, and she hasn't missed a step. Mm-hmm. Or skipped a beat at all. You know, she's wonderful. We're both on the same page. As it comes to learning curve with school, you know, they read 30 minutes a day, 6 days a week. They're straight A students, so we're doing a good job as parents for them.
So you're living the dream, basically. Great career, great father.
Well, you know, yeah, I mean, it is a dream, but at the same time, I know it's reality, and I got to make sure I take responsibility for my actions. And, you know, I've been through so much in such a long time, you know, fighting for 22 years. Been able to start other businesses, of course, but you know, this game of mixed martial arts, when I first began, I was an amateur. I fought in UFC 13, May 30th, 1997 as an amateur. Mm-hmm. I never had any pro career or any amateur fights prior to that. I just got thrown with the big dogs right off the bat, and I found something that I fell in love with, and I became a world champion a year and a half later. Was the first light heavyweight world champion. I guess the first MMA fighter to hold 2 belts, a belt at middleweight and a belt at light heavyweight. So I know I watched Conor McGregor saying he's the first to have 2 belts in different weight classes, which that is completely a lie.
You're like, liar.
Yeah, no, you know, they try to make a facade of what it really truly is. And but, you know, I look back on it, I'm very thankful to be where I am today because I've been able to bounce back. And a lot of people in this game of mixed martial art aren't able to bounce back. You know, their careers get to a certain point of 5-6 years, and then they're done. I've been in it for 22 years, and still, you know, people talk about it. People want to watch my fights, and I'm still able to get in the gym and train 3 times a day, 5 days a week, twice on Saturdays, and I really just bust my butt and get the most out of it, and then get my hand raised is my number one goal. So I put it in the gym, and that's what matters.
And I think it's also a mental thing because, like you said, some people don't bounce back, and this is a type of career that it's mental and physical.
Yeah. Yes.
So if you're not even there mentally, I mean, physically you could be there, but mentally, if you're just not really pushing yourself, you know, you could maybe cap out in 6 years or.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that has to do with just positive reinforcement at
Yes.
home from your significant other or friends or family or even training partners or coaches.
Because the media can be evil. The media can be evil. Like it's just difficult.
I turn it off. Anybody tries to talk smack on me, I block them. Thank God for the block button and I just block them. I don't even read it or anything like that. I just literally block it and I just go on with my next fan that either a fan or someone dislikes me. Mm-hmm. Just as long as they don't talk smack on me. When they talk smack on me on my social media, of course, on Instagram, Tito Ortiz 1999, or on Twitter at Tito Ortiz. I understand criticism, and I really don't people try to bash me, I'm like, all right, I'll block you. I won't let it in my mind.
Yeah.
But just having that mentality, like I say, I have a positive reinforcement in my life, and just being able to go in the gym and loving what I do, that's important. And your mind is so strong, and people don't realize it, and you can put it through so much damage. But if you're able to withstand it, that's the biggest challenge.
All the injuries you've been through, a lot of people that'll stop fighters, not that they mentally want to still do it, physically it stops them, but with all the surgeries you have and where you're at with your pain tolerance and still having that passion, I think that's kind of what's keeping you going, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thankful I'm not in any pain at all anymore. You know, I went through 8 surgeries. My surgery started back in 2003. I had an ACL replaced my left knee, and then it just kind of riddled my body all the way up till 2 years ago, where I've had an ACL replaced my right knee, 50% of my meniscus taken out of my right knee. I've had L4-5, S1 fused in my lower back. I've had in my thoracic T3, T2, T2, T1, T1, C7 disc replacement. I've had C6, C7 fused. I've had C6, C5 fused. I've had C5, C4 disc replacement.
Wow.
I reattached retina.
Anybody else would have just stopped.
Yeah, of
No,
course.
you
Definitely,
know-
there's the mental part right there.
Anybody
You just
else?
keep going.
Huge mental part of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just believing in myself and believing I can do it. I remember when I had my first surgery back in 2003, I tore my ACL on my knee. And I just remember basketball players or football players or baseball players, and their careers would be done.
Yeah.
And I thought my career was done. I remember just sitting in the shower crying, just like going, man, I'm the world champ right now, and my career is done. I didn't take that as a loss. I took that as, you know what, this is a challenge. You know, it's a challenge from God, or just a challenge from myself to see what type of man I truly am, and showed my character. And I've been able to do that over the last 22 years. I'm very fortunate.
Do you alter your fighting style in matches when you have a certain, like when you had your knee gotten done? Did you do less takedowns? Did you try to do more stand-up? Or
My problem was I couldn't run. Running was hard. I mean, I would be able to do, you know, maybe 10 miles a week at the most. I mean, I'm used to doing 30 miles a week.
That makes it harder to cut weight.
Harder to cut weight and so forth. The worst was my back problem. You know, I went through a back problem from 2003 until 2009. And I didn't want to get back surgery because they said once you get back surgery, you're pretty much done.
Yeah.
You have L4-5 S1 fused in your lower back, you're going to be done. Well, I went to a company called Nuvasive down in San Diego, and they showed me on a cadaver how they would do the surgery. And then they don't go through the back, they don't go through the front, they go through the side. And it's they spread your soleus muscle, which is the muscle is like cables that keep your back, or keeps your body from slinging side to side. And those muscles that connect to your spine. It was 3 times the size of an average person when the doctor went in. He's like, Tito, now I understand why you're able to train over the last 7 years.
Yeah.
But I was just so afraid to get surgery done. But once I got it done, it was like a lifesaver. I went through about 3 months of hell. I mean, it was bad. I mean, I was eating 1,000 milligram Vicodins every day. I mean, I'd eat like 4 or 5 of them a day. I mean, I never got over that, but I got to a point where I was just in dire pain. I was just crying every day. I couldn't handle, you know, just the stress I was getting over. But I finally said, you know what, enough's enough. I started doing physical therapy, and right after physical therapy, it just literally went from days to weeks to hours, where it just got better and better and better. And once again, there was the mentality in my mind saying, you know what, suck it up, push through this, and you could do it.
have you attributed any of your physical, as far as healing and stuff, from CBD at all or anything? Have you dabbled in anything like that?
Yeah, well, just recently, was it BioRain's CBD is a CBD company with a water isolate.
Okay.
And they have a lotion that I use, and it works really, really well on my neck. Of course, after all the neck surgeries I've had and the training I do now.
Really helps with the inflammation, I'm sure,
Yes,
as well.
big time the inflammation. And I tell a huge, huge difference. I mean, this has been about 3 years now that I've been using it, and it helps out a lot. Another great thing is it's water soluble. So we have drinking stuff. So I'm not drinking just the oil.
Correct.
You know, it's not messing my kidneys up at all. So that helps out a whole bunch. But I mean, it's kind of been a secret, and now I've seen all these other athletes starting to come about.
Yep.
And, you know, they're smoking cannabis and so forth. And that's something, I mean, I grew up, we smoked weed. I mean,
It was very like quiet, right?
Yeah, no one talked about it.
My parents did. I mean, it was just, that was the 60s deal. I mean,
Yeah.
my parents didn't like me doing it. They didn't know I was doing it, but I was out stealing pot plants. I mean, I was 6, 7 years old. I mean, I remember rolling
Where do you
joints
steal pot plants from?
from people's backyards. No,
Huntington
seriously.
Beach, I mean,
Huntington
Orange County.
Beach.
Really?
It's just what
Yes,
it is.
when I was a
Good
kid.
growing weather.
I mean,
Good growing
and, you know,
Just going there after this.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm pissed at my parents because they only knew how good it to be a parent as they were taught. But I had a free reign to pretty much do what I wanted to do, and I look back on it and I kind of just curse myself. It's just like, man, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Because I didn't have any parents to kind of had a
But there's
role
always
model
life
over me.
experiences.
Yeah.
You never know.
Maybe they're true. It did make me the man I am today.
Yeah.
I mean,
Who knows?
I grew up
You
in the
could
punk
be
rock
having
era.
a 9 to 5, if anything. Imagine if it was
I
different.
I tried that 9 to 5 when I graduated high school, and it didn't work. I worked at Munchie's Pizza, and I was like, this ain't gonna work for me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. And I think the fighting is what really took over my body. And like when I'm not fighting, I'm able to burn here and there, but most of the time I don't, because I'm training. I mean, training is super important to me, and I make sure that I'm healthy. I don't drink caffeine. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke. I really just, when it's my job to train for 18 weeks, that's my job to do, and I make sure when it's time to perform.
Nicotine is one of those things that can definitely aid you internally more
I don't
than
smoke.
physically.
I don't smoke cigarettes. I'm talking about smoking weed. I don't smoke cigarettes at all. I haven't smoked cigarettes since I've been 18 years old. When I started working on
cigarettes are
books.
no.
I smoke people that smoke cigarettes. Like, I stay away. I don't like it. It
That's
makes you
why-
old. It makes you ugly.
Yeah, it really does. In Green Care Solutions, they have CBD like can hookahs, because I didn't know that hookah also has nicotine. And sometimes people like to be social at hookah lounges, and I would smoke it sometimes. I'm like, oh, I just don't like how it feels. But then they're like, oh, it has nicotine. I was like, oh, then there you go, because I never really liked nicotine myself. But CBD can hookah, I think, is a better way to socially enjoy yourself without poisoning yourself.
Yeah, we do actually have it in a hookah lounge in Orange County in Anaheim called Hidden Cafe, and they have a menu. So if you want to go in with your friends or whatever and you just don't smoke, ours has no tobacco, no nicotine, and it's got 1,000 milligrams per container. So like I said, it's something that you do it. It's obviously a healthy alternative, but it actually relaxes you, and you can actually, still be with your friends and say, nah, I'm going to have to cut it for the night.
For sure.
There's nothing worse. I mean, I just got back from Pittsburgh, and I went to a club out with a couple of my buddies, and people were smoking cigarettes in there.
I just came back from Europe. I was in Europe for 10 days, and there's cigarettes everywhere. Like, you'll be at the club, people are just smoking cigarettes. I'm like, oh, it's just in there.
Then I get back to my hotel room, and I swear I feel like an ashtray. I'm like, man, I'm like washing off. It's like yellow's coming off. I'm like, this is disgusting, man.
And with girls, it gets in your hair. You're just like, I just washed it.
Nothing worse than that.
Yes. Well, how do you and Domenick know each other? I know, Domenick, you have your own show on iHeartRadio as well.
Yeah, actually, the Domenick Nati Show, it is on iHeartRadio and Intellectual Radio in Chicago. And I actually had Tito on about a month ago. And, because we interview celebrities, athletes, anyone that's promoting anything. And, Tito was a guest, and it was great. And that's a weekly show where we do celebrity interviews.
And now we're interviewing you.
Yes.
Now you are a celebrity.
Yeah.
On the other side of the fence today.
Yeah.
It's fun. Yeah. So the YouTube channel, we just got over 1 million views total.
Congrats.
So that's, and they're just audio clips. So I thought that was pretty good. And we get a ton of press coverage, 'cause I've been a celebrity publicist for 13 years. So whenever, we do the interviews, we put a clip on YouTube, and then a lot of the press has been great picking it up, So it's a lot more provocative. Like, we try to ask tough questions and things, to help get headlines and exposure for whoever the guest is. So it's actually been a lot of fun.
Nice. And, well, I know you've been promoting a lot of things that you've been doing. I mean, you have your own company now as well.
I got a few companies. I'm in the car business. Also, TO Auto Group out of Fontana. We're actually out of Fontana and Riverside with Mannheim, which is Mannheim Inc. It's a huge company. People probably know if they're in the car business. I got my own clothing company, Punishment Athletics. Of course, wearing a shirt right now.
Yep. 20
I
years
like
strong.
the name, Punishment Athletics. It's
20
like,
years
what?
strong. Actually, it's been longer than that.
Really? It has.
Since 1999. Yeah, 20 years strong.
Yeah,
You're correct.
yeah.
That, and then actually getting into the CBD company with cannabis, just because I'm seeing the difference, how much it's changing my body, and being able to train and work through the problems that I did before of just having inflammation in my muscles and everything, and being able to wake up and do the stuff I do every day. I mean, training 3 times a day, 5 days a week. I mean, it's a grind. So.
And, God put on this earth, it's not like we created in a lab. Ricky Williams was just on our show, and he was talking about how much he loves being an herbalist. He calls himself an herbalist. He doesn't like calling himself like somebody who has, because he also has his own cannabis company, and he takes CBD every day. And since with his sport, just like yourself, there's so much contact, and he would get knocked out, and he was like, they would put me on all these painkillers.
No.
And it's like, I just rather have cannabis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm sure there's like so many other like newer athletes and stuff that look up to you. So being able to show them that cannabis is something that they can turn to, especially like say they've had a lot of surgeries and might end up dealing with like opioid addictions because of all the medicines that they're put on after now.
That was one of the things that I had not a problem with. That I ended up finding out that I had a problem with was painkillers. After my last surgery back in 2018, I had my T3, T2, T2, T1, C7 disc replacement, and prior to that, I was just going through pain. The company I was fighting with kept denying the claim, saying it wasn't their problem, it was my fault, and my insurance had to pay for it. I'm like, no, you guys did it, and this ended up being like 8 months, and I was eating was like 15 milligram Vicodins, 10 of them a day.
Yeah. Wow.
And I got to a point where it was changing my attitude. I could tell I'm yelling at my kids for no reason. I'm just like, I need to get the surgery done. So, it was like, I warned them. I'm like, either you guys take care of this or I'm going to go on social media and I'm going to put you guys on blast. And they ended up paying for it. I got it done and I got my surgery. And then all of a sudden I had that in September. October, November rolled by and the pain was gone. End of November, December, Christmas came around, and then New Year's I was in Las Vegas, and I got sick, and I literally didn't take my Vicodins for, I don't know, almost like a 12-hour period, and I got really sick. And then I said, you know what, it was right on New Year's Eve, and I said, you know what, enough's enough. Yeah. I'm done. I went in the...
So unfortunate.
I poured everything, poured it all out.
Yeah.
Put all my painkillers away, and I said I will not take another painkiller again. But I went through just I felt like I was dying. It was just coming off the painkillers. And I said, you know what? I called all my boys up. I'm like, hey, man, can you hook me up with some weed? And he's all, you sure? I go, yeah. And I smoked for that week. And I'm telling you, after I stopped smoking, I had no more pain, nothing at all. Yeah. And it helped so much to get me off of that. And I put it to an understanding like, wow, that really saved my life. Because I was like chewing on tinfoil and like I was on an electrocute table and it was the worst thing in the world. I was like throwing up, diarrhea, sweating. I felt like I had a flu for 3 weeks. It was the worst feeling ever. But that was from all the painkillers. All these companies subscribe all these painkillers for people to go through surgeries. Now I wonder if they could have found out a better way to do it with CBD and cannabis. And I think we're almost to that point here in the next 3 to 4 years. Finally, companies taking over, making it happen.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, we had a celebrity sports agent, Darren Prince, and he was addicted to opiates since he was 13 years old.
When he was 13, nurse gave it to him. He's been addicted.
Yeah, ever since. And what happened with his calling was basically one time they were at the NBA All-Star Weekend, him and Dennis Rodman, one of his clients, and he was in his room, took, what was it, Oxy, I think, I'm not sure exactly, but it was opioid, and then he started doing, shots and all that stuff, and they came in and found him passed out, overdose. Wow. And that was his first time in, I think, 20-something years that it actually overdosed from it, but then he realized, you know what am I doing?
Yeah.
So and then
he's been short, man.
Yeah, he's been clean I think for like 13 plus years now, and he has a book on it. But the thing is too is like I think it takes over you to the point where it's like, oh, okay, cool, I need this for my pain. It's like it's just calling you. You know what I mean?
It's
like taking you over.
It becomes something that you need. It's like I wake up, if you don't take it, you get sick. It's like and it scared me because my mother and father they were addicted to heroin. My father still uses. I'm not sure if it's just methadone, but he does still use. My mother's clean, but she smokes. I make sure I supply her. It's just.
We'll give her some products as well.
Yeah, I always try to make sure that she don't ever go back to the dark time.
It's unfortunate.
But I look at it, and that's always been my scariest point. I've tried almost everything as a kid growing up because I never had anybody looking over me besides heroin. That's always been so. That's been my devil. I was like, stay away from that because you'll lose everything. And it was just one of those things. Like I say, man, I've been very, very fortunate to give my kids everything I never had as a kid, with love and, just how crazy how human beings, they need love to be successful in this world. And if they don't have it, they have to find it some other way. Yeah. And sometimes, drugs is something that they attach to. And that was one of my getaways, drugs and fishing. And then when I got into fighting, I found a different, a respect for myself as a mixed martial artist, but I got the attention that I've always needed that my parents never gave me as a kid. And I just found out if I worked harder, the more attention I got, and not only the more attention I got, the more money I made. Now the more money I made, then all of a sudden I was able to take care of my kids and give them the love that I've always wanted. Now my kids are super happy. It shows by the smiles on their faces, the way they react to me, the way they respond to other people. One of my neighbors, John, who's 65 and retired, he gave me a call last week, and we talk once in a while. But he's been in the same island I live out in Huntington Beach, and he's been living since 2009. And he's like, I watch your kids be born, I watch them walk around, and every time I see him, they always say, "Hey, John, what's up?" And there's kids in my family that don't even say, "Hey, John, how you doing?" They don't even remember my name because your kids are so respectful.
They're very polite.
Yeah, very polite. And then I just say, man, a mirror of myself is through my children. Yeah. And that's who I am, is my kids. I play with them. I wrestle around with them. We do jiu-jitsu together. I put them through training stuff. Of course, people who follow me on my Instagram, they see the stuff that I put them through.
Yeah.
And it's not to torture them. It's more of to show them what hard work is truly about.
Yeah.
Because they see me do it. They see me sparring. They see me wrestling. They see me doing all the work in my gym. And they wonder why I do it. But then when they see the respect that I get from fans, they're like, "Dad, why is that guy yelling your name? He's like so happy to see you and shake your hand and wants to take a picture." I'm all, because they respect me. And it's not that they're afraid of me. It's not a fear factor. It's they respect me. They see the hard work I do. They see everything I put into this game of mixed martial arts. And they're like, "We want to do that, Dad."
Yeah, one of your sons wants to be a fighter, right? MMA fighter?
Little Journey. He wants it, but so our agreement. So I have my oldest son Jacob, who's 17. He lives in Arizona with my ex-wife Kristen, and she does an amazing job as a mother with him. But when he said he wanted to be a fighter, I said, "Okay, here's our deal between me and you. You got to get your master's degree first. You get your master's degree, and I'll support you for your fighting stuff. I'll make sure that you get the right training and everything." He's like, "Okay, cool, Dad." Now he doesn't really want to do it. Now he's all, "I want to get into business management because I want to manage the fighters. I'll make money that way."
Yeah.
But for my twin boys, Jesse and Journey, Jesse wants to be the attorney and Journey wants to be the fighter. He's like, "No, Dad, I want to be the fighter." "Okay, my agreement that we have with Jacob, right?" And he's like, "Yeah. Get our masters." I go, "That's right, boy." So I make sure they get educated.
Great job. Yeah.
Just so they're able to fall back on something, because no one ever guided me the right way and showed me the right thing. There was never, a book on how to be the right parent, how to be a great fighter, and how to be a businessman. I had to learn everything myself, and through things I learned through life. I've had some great role models in my life with coaches, going all the way up to Donald Trump, the president. When I did the Celebrity Apprentice, I was always on his shoulder asking questions. How do you become a millionaire? How do you become a billionaire? And asking these questions because I had this opportunity given to me to be able to see the knowledge. And it says the people you surround yourself around with is who you become.
So true.
And I've learned that. And, I can remember as being 14, 15, 16 years old and surrounding myself with gang members, and that's not what I wanted to do. And I realized that when I, went to juvenile hall a couple of times. I was like, shit, these kids are just like laughing, going, "Yeah, I got a year and a half. I'm cool. I can do this shit, stand on my head." I was like, this place ain't for me.
Yeah.
And I changed myself completely. There was one time that I did do some county jail time, and it was for assault. I was defending one of my friends against 3 skinheads. I ended up knocking out 3 of them, and I got a charge with assault with a deadly weapon because I was a fighter at the time. But I remember sitting in jail. I did 59 days at Lacey, and I remember crying on the phone to my girlfriend going, "I don't belong in here." It ended up being my wife, but I was like, "I don't belong in here." And she's like, "You'll be out soon." I was like, "No, you don't understand. I don't belong in here." Because all these guys it was normal for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, their mindset was just not even they weren't as driven as you. They were just heading a different path.
Well, most of them don't have any future plan in life or have anything that they're really working for to stay out of jail. So to them, it doesn't really matter if they stay in.
I know. I mean, as a kid when I wrestled in high school, that's what got me into the wrestling room was professional wrestling. We were talking about professional wrestling prior, and
absolutely.
I walked in the wrestling room looking for the looking for the ring, and there was no ring. I told the coach, I'm like, "Coach, where's the ring at?" And he's like, "Ring?" I was like, "Yeah, WWF, WWE now."
Yep,
he's like,
absolutely.
"No, this is like Olympic wrestling. It's totally different." And I was like, "But I can still slam the guys in the head." Well, if you can do it, I go, "I'm not going to get in trouble for it." No, of course you're not. I was hook, line, and sinker. And people don't know my true name is Jacob. In the Bible, Jacob wrestled an angel. The angel beat him and saved his life. And I found wrestling. Wrestling saved my life and has gave me the life I have today, and I'm very fortunate of it. And it taught me a lot of responsibility. It taught me the hard work, dedication, and everything that I've learned in life. That I'm fortunate to be where I'm sitting right now. I had 3 choices in life: dead, in prison, or where I am right now. And I'm fortunate. I'm very, very fortunate.
So you were when you came across MMA and it was still new, there was no avenues really after high school with wrestling, right?
No, my dream was to become a WWE heavyweight champion. That was my dream.
Mine too.
Do you think you're like the pioneer in a sense? Because, UFC kind of came out like in the 90s. To me, you're like the pioneer of the movement of MMA and the whole UFC.
Well, I stood my ground against UFC when a lot of fighters didn't do it. And that's why a lot of fighters now are getting paid the $1 million.
Yeah.
Back when I fought, we fought for $50,000, $75,000.
You're risking your life,
headlining
basically.
too,
and headlining it for that amount of money. And these guys, I mean, I'll give it to them. The Lorenzo Fertitta and Dana White, they put their lives and their time into the business. Lorenzo Fertitta and Frank Fertitta put their money behind it, and they invested $10 million into a $2 million investment, and now they are able to sell it for $4.5 billion, and that's with a B,
billion.
Billion. And I mean, us fighters, we still got to fight to survive, I've been here for 22 years. I still got to fight to survive.
Yeah. Speaking about fighting, you do have an upcoming fight, MMA fight.
Yep.
You want to speak about that a little bit?
Yeah.
And who it's about with?
Well, it's an organization called Combate Americas. They're on Univision. It's more of a Latino-based fight organization. They came to me and they're like, here, we'll offer you this guy. Actually, this guy says he wants to fight you. And they said Alberto Del Rio. And I had to take a second take. I was like, oh, excuse me? He's like, yeah, Alberto Del Rio. I go, you mean the WWE Alberto Del Rio? I go, yeah. He's like, well, he has a professional career, or professional record in mixed martial arts. It's 9-5. I go, all right. I go, well, okay, we'll start talking about the money. And the numbers, it was great. It's comparable to UFC, so I was happy with it.
Yeah. And
I got an opportunity to train. I got an opportunity to do what I love, and that's fight. I got an opportunity to entertain my fans that I've been doing for such a long time. And, I want to make sure that I'm able to do it. After I fought Chuck Liddell last year and I stopped him in the first round, I came to a crossroad in my life. I was like, God, what do I do now? I'm 43 years old. What am I going to do? I called Randy Couture, former UFC light heavyweight and heavyweight champion, who's a close friend of mine. And I said, Randy, when you were 43, what made you come back and win the world title for the UFC? What made you have the drive to do that? And he's like, well, Tito, I didn't feel like I was done. I felt like I had a lot more to do. And that's all I needed to hear.
Yeah.
Literally, because I really look up to Randy. He's like a dad to me pretty much, man. He's a good guy. And I really just made a decision. I sat down, I talked to my girlfriend, I talked to my kids, and I said, you know what, guys, Dad's going to do it again. I think I want to fight again.
Yeah, and you're on a 2-fight win streak right now.
Yeah, no, I wait, 1, 2.
Yeah, challenge.
Yeah. And it's just one of those things that I've against Alberto Del Rio. I'm not counting my chickens before they hatch. People say it's going to be an easy fight for you. I'm not getting paid for the fight. I'm not doing it for the fight. I'm doing it for the factor that I'm going to get in shape and I'm able to educate or able to entertain my fans.
Yeah.
And you're still going. What's cool is as you said earlier, it's like a mental thing. But it's unfortunate because as athletes, sometimes they freak out towards maybe in their 30s because they're like, okay, I'm hitting that wall.
Yeah.
There's people younger than me that are going to do better than me. And they shouldn't have that negative mindset because you can really keep going if you just keep going and forget all the negative energy from the negative people. Just keep fighting for it.
100%.
Forget the norm. There is no norm.
There is no norm. It's all in our minds.
You should be able to set the standard yourself. Don't let anybody else set the standard for you, saying, "Oh no, you can't do it." I'm with a consulting firm, My Ethos 100, who's a bodybuilding consultant firm, and I've been with them now for about 5.5 months, and I've been going to these professional bodybuilding and fitness competitions, and I'm watching these guys who are 70 years old and they look like they're like 30. Not their face, but their body's just shredded. And I'm like, damn. We work hard. I was like, you guys just gave me another motivation right now. I'm like, I feel young as hell at 44.
Yeah, absolutely.
Truthfully, honestly, when we're talking about being positive and negative, back when I was 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, I was going through such a negative environment at that time that I felt just broken down man. I literally felt like a broken down man. At the time, my girlfriend, Jenna Jameson, I was just trying to save my mom. That's what my therapist ended up telling me. And it took me a lot of money, a lot of my hours, a lot of tears. But I was able to realize that it wasn't my problem. I wasn't the bad guy. I wasn't doing the bad things. It was her reflecting her pain to me and trying to dwindle my mentality, trying to dwindle my mindset. And I literally checked out. I was like, all right, cool, I'm done. I was out, I was over, and ever since then, it's been 6 years now that my life is a totally different. People you don't even understand. All my friends, my training partners, my trainer, all the guys who I work with, they're like, Tito, you're like a new man. You walk in, you're glowing, you're smiling, you see with your kids, you're happy. I watch on social media, your kids are happy, you're happy. I'm like, it's just the mentality that I have at home. There's nothing like that. And if anybody out there, anybody listening to this, you guys are going through a bad relationship and you guys think you could fix that person, believe me, you cannot fix that person. I tried it like no other, and I've won in everything I've done. I fixed everything I've ever done wrong. I never did a mistake twice, but watch and just look at the mistakes that the person makes, and those aren't your problems. I mean, there's so much stuff and just the psychology behind it. And I'm glad I took a psych 101 when I was in college, because I was able to learn and know what the normalcy is, and that happy medium, and just the in between, where I was able to blast those things and shake it off and say, you know what, no, I'm not going to have this around me. They say one spoiled apple will spoil the bunch, and that's 100%. I mean, I remember that as a kid hearing that stuff, and that's what it's like. That's
and
what
you have children too, so you want to make sure that they're in a safe place. They don't want to see their parents fighting.
Yeah, I mean, I remember my parents. I mean, they were using. I mean, I would smell matches and the sulfur from the matches. I mean, even to this day, I can't smell matches. I just get a flashback. I'm 44 years old, and I still get flashbacks at them. It's like I really just look at it as it was a learning process for me. It was something that I didn't know what was going on. That was normal. That was a normal life. I mean, all the other kids who lived in the area, they were, when I lived in Santa Ana from the age of 6 to 13, I hung around gangs, and gangs, that was my family. They're the ones, the veteranos are the ones who showed me respect. They showed me honor. They showed me, how to be a man. It wasn't my dad doing that. Yeah. And then when I came 13, my mother separated with my father and gave me a second life. We moved back to Huntington Beach, and I found that same factor in my life, because when me and Jenna were together back in 2012, I had to make that same decision, either be selfish and keep it for myself and try to make the relationship work, or think about my children and make the decision my mother made. And that's what it came down to. I remember the decision my mother made, and it was hard. You understand, my mom was with my dad for 14 years, and all of a sudden get up and leave in a week. I mean, that's hard for a woman to do. And it was hard as hell for me to do that with Jenna, because I loved her so much at the time. I mean, I would die for her, but she put me through hell. She tarnished my name. She almost ruined my career. But I was able to kind of pick up the blocks and put them back together. And I'm very fortunate, because so many fans that know the honest, they know the truth, they know the things that I've gone through, and they know what type of person I truly am, that there was a bunch of lies that were told about me. And, I'm regenerated. I'm happy, man.
Yeah, your mind's right.
Wow, my mind's right. Everything's perfect. Not perfect. No one goes through perfect life. You got to go through the trials and tribulations.
I think God puts situations in front of us to give us this experience, and that's the beauty of life. We all go through these experiences, and they make us into the strong people we are today.
I think we put ourselves in those situations.
Certain ones. There's certain experiences where I'm like, well, that was a lesson that I needed, and then other ones I'm like, okay, that was my bad. But but there's certain lessons that I feel like can make us into who we are as a strong person. However we handle them, though, we can handle them differently.
Well, then that's just a situation that you think about it. If you put yourself in a situation, I take responsibility for the situation. You're trying to blame it on someone else.
I know. Yeah. You have to be an adult about it, obviously. But
I see a lot of people just try to say, God help me through this. God help me through this, and it's like, well, look in the mirror and say,
you did it.
You helped me through this, buddy. And I promise you, I have done that so many times. I look in the mirror and saying, you know what? You need to make a decision right now. You need to make the right decision right now. Because don't get me wrong. There's been times I was crying in bed saying, God, please help me through this. And I ended up saying, you know what? God's not going to help me unless I help myself. And I got up, I looked in the mirror and said, stop being this man and be a real man. And I took that decision, and I look at my life now, and I'm very, very thankful of it.
And that's why your career is still going. It's that mental, you just keep doing it.
And I think it's your consistency with everything throughout your life, and that's so important for a lot of people to learn. And I think that's why you've lasted so long, and you're still going, and you'll continue to last long throughout everything. Like, a lot of these new fighters come in, they don't understand hard work, and they don't understand consistency fully, to where they win something and then they're like, I'm good.
Yeah, and I think it's the expectation. I mean, they expect it. I mean, I think it's maybe the millenniums. I mean, am I saying this wrong? And kind of
millennials,
one of those millennials. Am I trying to stereotype the people in general? But it's not.
No, but I mean, you look at I think social media is a huge problem with millennials nowadays, because you see everything on social media, and everybody makes their life seem like it's so perfect and that it came so easy, and so many people don't see all the real hard work that's behind it until they're in it, and they don't know how to really take it at that point.
Yeah.
And maybe people want things to be instant.
Yeah,
and that's not.
We live in a
mindset.
very fast and instant lifestyle nowadays.
If we don't have strong Wi-Fi, we complain. It's just.
I can promise you. I remember living on Harbor Boulevard in motels, living in cars, living in a little small trailer. To now that I live in a $4 million mansion a Rolls Royce Phantom, Panamera Porsche. My house is just
okay,
decked
Instagram.
out.
Not just kidding.
I want to show what hard
kidding.
work really pays off.
No, it really does.
When I graduated in '93, I remember watching Snoop Dogg. I'll pop it like it's hot on the video, and him saying I'm rolling this Rolls Royce Phantom, and I was like, I want that car right there.
Yes.
And even before that, when I was 14, I remember fishing in the docks in Huntington Harbor, and I remember telling my buddies on the docks by about 3 or 4 in the morning because I really didn't have to go home. I go watch one day I'm on a house here, and my buddies are like, "Man, shut up and bait the hook." I go, "No, really, I'm gonna own a house here." In 2009, when I bought my house there, after I bought my Rolls Royce Phantom, I remember taking my buddy fishing on my boat that I have behind my house, 38-foot fountain. I remember taking him, and we were passing by the dock, and he's like, "Hey, Tito, you remember that one day or one night that we're on that dock and you said you were going to own a house here?" I go, remember? I go, I never forgot. I'm still working for it. And I'm still grinding for it. I'm still working for it. Nothing's ever been given to me. I've earned and got everything I have. They're just respect and values, Never step on anybody, get ahead. Never steal, never cheat, never lie, and just do the right thing. So when I look in the mirror at night and I brush my teeth, I can answer my own sins. I can answer my own problems. I can answer myself and take responsibility for my actions, not anybody else's. Don't blame it on say, "Oh, it's her fault, his fault, their fault."
Nothing.
It's my fault. I'm the one who let that happen. And I look back at my last relationship. I made that happen.
Yeah.
I could have said no, and I could have said later a long time ago, but I thought I could fix it, and it didn't happen. It didn't work, and now I guess things come full circle, and I learned so much out of it. I'm very thankful.
Going back to actual fighting and going back to cannabis and CBD, what's your take on legalizing like cannabis and CBD in companies like Bellator, UFC? I mean, is that something you think they should ban as far as the cannabis, or you think something that eventually they should allow?
Well, there's a kind of a misconception about it. With CBD, it should be legal because it doesn't hurt. I mean, marijuana is a little different because it'll make you a little lazier.
The THC
it's cardiovascular, make you a little slower for reaction timing. And I wouldn't advise anybody under the age of 21 to take.
Or even when you're driving, don't use any THC.
Yeah, no THC.
Makes you a little slow.
Because at the age of 21, your mind's not even fully developed at the time. You make sure your mind is developed. As I said, I was a young kid and I used to smoke, and I probably shouldn't have been. And it hindered my school, it held my learning curve bad.
And I think too, like the media too. I remember as a kid, there was always, teachers would say don't do drugs, gateway, cannabis, and all that. But also, like when you watch a movie, they would be like, "Yeah, smoking weed's so much fun, so cool." And so I feel like when teenagers wanted to do that, so I agree that it should be 21 years of age. It's for a mature person. Not saying that you're mature when you're 21, but
no, you're not.
You're still. It's a lot better than an 18-year-old.
But your brain's at least
fully developed. And the cool thing about CBD and hemp, it doesn't it's not psychedelic.
No,
so it's okay to do if you have an injury from sports, you want to treat maybe if you have a hard time sleeping. There's so many different things you can do. Headaches versus
Super
if you don't want to
diverse.
take Tylenol, you could take a tincture of CBD.
Yeah, it's
pharmaceutical companies
anti-inflammatory.
will try and block this stuff like no other. And
Oh,
let me
absolutely.
tell you, man, this is the truth serum, and people don't understand it. I use the lotion. I do drips. I do drinks. It's just something that helps my body so much more to be able to perform at the top peak performance that I needed to perform at.
Yeah, more athletes are coming out, but a lot of them wait till after they're done with their careers. And it's good that you're talking about CBD now, that you're still active, because a lot of athletes, they have to be in the closet, the green closet, And the thing is, too, is just because you get a prescription from the doctor, okay, I'm cool, I'm good, I'm allowed to. It says it on the paper, I'm allowed to. But the damage that it's doing compared to something that's all natural, that to me, it works way better. Like my no cartilage in my knees. I had to quit playing basketball in college because of that. And I can do more things now playing basketball and working out just with the CBD oil than I have forever. Right. And it's just crazy. So, I'm just glad that you're here talking about stuff, and, just opens more people's mind to it.
Yeah, I'm actually in business right now with one of my partners, Ryan, and we'll be opening probably about 7 CBD stores in Temecula, Riverside, San Diego, Los Angeles, and Long Beach counties.
Awesome.
And it's just something that I've been working really hard to try to make happen because, the pharmaceutical companies are trying to give these painkillers to these kids, giving Adderall to these kids. And that's legal.
Ritalin?
Speed. And, I used to take Ritalin as a kid because I was just crazy, but I should have been outside the house more. Now these kids are on video games. My kids, they don't have cell phones. They don't have iPads.
Good.
They have to earn to play Xbox. I mean, and that's only on Saturdays.
And I think it's dangerous for kids to be on social media. Personally, I don't have 100%. Any kids, but one day I will. But I'm just saying, I think it's creepy. Like, why should a kid that's 12 have an Instagram? It's just weird.
I grew up outside, playing sports.
My kids have social Instagram, but we
monitor
it. They're not on it at all. They're still looking like, Dad, can we get 1,000 followers? He just wants to get 1,000 followers.
We're
let them get a YouTube. But it's just one of those things where you got to make sure you monetize it. You got to make sure you got to see who's calling or who's trying to add them as friends or things like that. And we watch it super close, or at least Amber watches it super close. But
one thing I was really happy to be raised upon was like my mom and dad wouldn't let me get a cell phone until I was 18 and I had a job so I could pay for it because they weren't going to pay for something like that. And I see so many kids nowadays, like young kids on iPads and all that, and like taking their attention there. And I read a study about like a mother reading to her child every night stimulates a kid's brain, but like them watching something on TV doesn't.
Yes, and that's the same thing that I do with my kids, and they can tell the difference with their friends that have iPads, have iPhones. The conversation between each other.
There's no social interaction.
No social interactive, no eye contact. And that's what my kids. When we go to dinner and like parents will walk by and be like, "Your kids are really, really good. They're not crazy. They're not out of their minds." Stephen Jobs said a while back that kids should not play with an iPhone up to the age of 14. They should not have iPhones. They should not have iPads because their minds aren't ready to open up that type of stimulation at that age, at that time. And I've stuck to it. I've done it. And my kids, they're like, "We understand now, Dad, because our friend, he doesn't want to come out of the house. He's playing Xbox all day." And we're like, "Come on, let's go play at the park." And he doesn't want to come out and play.
Yeah, antisocial.
And it's antisocial. A lot of kids are at that situation now. And it's funny because I see some of my other friends and their kids will come up and I go, "Hey, buddy, how you doing? What's your name?" And they're like so shy. And they're like really standoffish. They don't want to get eye contact. And it's totally different with my kids. And I see the difference.
And back to what we were saying with like Adderall and Ritalin, they're doing studies now giving children CBD and hemp to help them with maybe anxiety if there's kids that are autistic, or if they're very, very hyper, the CBD and hemp can calm them. And I thought that was pretty cool because it's an herb. As Ricky Williams was saying, he's an herbalist. And I thought that was beautiful they're doing that because you're giving your kids all these chemicals and their brains are still developing, as we just said, and you just don't know how they can affect them long term.
Yeah, epilepsy too. I mean, we've seen all videos and stuff. Like I know somebody who, uses our oils, and their 2-year-old son used to have 12 seizures a month. It literally messaged me a month and a half into it down to 1 a month. Wow. Just CBD full spectrum tincture oil. So the thing is like with these kind of news coming out and with people actually seeing it, they're not going to run to the doctor first time they have any. They're going to know that there's an alternative natural source.
Domenick, you're kind of getting into CBD and hemp, right? You're curious about it?
Yeah, definitely the business itself. I don't actually have a lot of uses for it.
Because you're perfect?
Because I don't really do anything physical that can hurt me. Yeah, but I mean, just the business itself is just really fascinating. Yeah. And I've got so many people that some of them left the entertainment industry that were executives, and we worked together, and they're like, I'm doing this full time now. It's like, so obviously just as someone that's looking for additional business ventures, it's just so lucrative. And I went to the CBD Expo in Miami, and it was just, it was a huge thing. And you believe so many people with their testimonies of like, oh, this really helped me. Like what Tito's saying, if this guy does this to his body and he's saying that a lotion helps you, people that are not living that life, like he wouldn't say that if, he's not this is no endorsement here. Nope. So you see, it's truly helping. So even if you don't need it, I just think as a non-user, it's fascinating to hear that because I believe what you're saying. So
yeah, the other thing that Ricky Williams is saying is that people wait till they have injuries, wait till they have stress. They can be used as preventive measures as far as like, hey, you might get back problems later on, but if you're using this now as like a multivitamin you use every day, then you know what, it might prevent injuries or whatnot.
It actually is my multivitamin every day.
Me too, man.
Every morning I take a drop before
I take it every
start
day.
my day.
If anything on this table will help me lose 100 pounds, I would definitely buy that. I don't know if that's an option.
Well, THC is no, but CBD maybe. I don't know. See, there isn't. Gosh, it's so funny.
I put you in the gym, brother. No. You wouldn't have to get punched. You wouldn't have to get taken down.
That'll be great for your show.
Yeah.
No, that'll be great for your show.
The training and what you eat. You are what you eat.
Yeah, absolutely.
The sugar, the carbohydrates. If you eat a lot of greens, keep doing that. You know, instead of regular starchy potatoes, eat yams. I mean, there's so many different ways you can change your food and your diet.
Yeah.
No fried foods, no French fries, anything fried, no potatoes, no white bread, no white rice, no white pastas.
Stay away from processed.
Change that all to wheat. Red meats only once a week. Chicken maybe twice a week. Fish as much as you possibly can. Fish is a huge resource for your body, and you'll cut weight faster than hell. And something actually that I drink all the time, it's Citizen water. It's in Costa Mesa.
Is it
and
alkaline?
It's alkaline,
Yeah.
9 pH. My kids drink it. I drink it. So your pH levels in your body, if your acids get too high, they say that's a number one cause of leading for cancer.
Yeah.
So this is getting my levels completely. So in the beginning of my camp, when I started taking it, I haven't stopped now for the last, almost 2 years now. But it changes hugely. Like when I travel, I try to bring a water bottle with me, but I can't because I'm flying, and then I end up having to drink Evian, and it tastes nasty. I try to drink any other water, and it tastes like literally tap water. It tastes like tap water. It's the weirdest thing, and I get super dehydrated when I don't drink it. But there's a period when I first started for the first month where I was so dehydrated, completely dehydrated. Well, my body chemical was changing. The pHs were changing. It was changing so much as once it got past that first month, all of a sudden I was completely hydrated. There's a test that I do actually that's really close to here called the SIMP adaptation, and it measures my body weight, my fat content, how hydrated my body is, and my body was 137% hydrated.
Nice.
And then she was like, Tito, why? She goes, you drink a lot of water? I go, yeah, actually I'm drinking this Citizen water. I go, it's pH 9 alkaline. She goes, that's what it is. And it changes, I'm telling you. I have my kids drink it. My kids completely drink it when they go to training because they do jiu-jitsu, and they have no problem. They're able to push
You don't even
themselves.
need caffeine when you drink that, because I also drink the same water. Well, not that brand, but when I wake up in the morning, because I love caffeine, but I'm trying to cut myself from it. But you just wake up without, like, as groggy, and I think is because you're limiting the toxins probably in your body that are just making you out of it. But there's CBD water that Green Care Solutions hasn't. Do you take CBD water, I think, as well?
Yeah, I do CBD water a lot, and I think living an alkaline diet is so important because disease can't live in an alkaline environment, and I think a lot of people forget that. Like, you have a lot of cases with cancer, and I mean, they can't legally say that an alkaline diet will fix cancer, but there's so many testimonies to people having cancer and then going on a raw and base diet, an alkaline diet, and their cancer goes away.
Yeah. We're limiting all those chemicals we keep putting in our body.
Yeah, like Tito was saying, like the whole, like I just like about 2 months ago, I've been doing like pescatarian diet, you know, limiting dairy, but I've been eating like fish is my only source. I cut out red meat because the digestive, and we get older and you just carry everything you put on. And last 2 months, I've lost 20 pounds doing it, but I'm able with the CBD and having my body right. It's allowed my mind to be right, and every day it's like it's just something positive that you don't dread, you know, oh, I have to eat this again. It's like your body makes you say that that's cool. I like this. And it's come a long way, so I totally agree with that.
It goes to my kids too. I feed my kids like athletes. I mean, they're doing protein shakes. I mean,
Kids are beasts.
I mean, no, I promise you, we don't have ice cream for treats because they get A's on their tests. They get A's on their tests. We're able to go to Cool King and get frozen yogurt. I mean, that's they've never had ice cream before. I mean, candy. They've had candy on Halloween.
When they go away to college, they're going to be like, what is this?
No, well, the
fries?
crazy thing is my oldest son, Jacob, we did the same thing with him, and he's 17 now. And for Halloween, he'll take 3 or 4 pieces and he'll give the rest away. He's like, I just don't like it. It's too sweet for me.
It becomes just too much.
It's way too much. I mean, and fast food, we're able to cheat on Saturdays, and we cheat as family. We'll go to Taco Bell. I mean, we'll go to Mexican food. I mean, we'll have that opportunity to cheat, but then they understand that this is their time to enjoy, to indulge a little bit. But it's life in general is a process of taking care of your body. If you want to live a long life, you got to treat your body like a temple or like a race car. You know, if you want to be the fastest race car and get off the line as fast as possible, you got to make sure you treat your body like that. And just like a temple, you want to pray to it, and hopefully good things come. Well, you got to treat your body right and give it good things, and good things will come.
What was your toughest fight that you felt you had to prepare for, and that it actually lived up to what you thought it was? What fight was that stands out in your career?
Ryan Bader. Ryan Bader. Just because at that time I was 4-1 underdog. Actually, a 6-1 underdog by the time the fight started. I was on a 5-loss streak, as you can say. Didn't win a fight for almost 5 years. My back was against the wall. Dana White said that my contract would be terminate it, and I had 4 more fights left, and you can understand
the pressure's on.
That's almost like $2 million a fight. That was on the line. My legacy was on the line. I was fighting a kid who only had 1 loss, who was on a 7-streak win streak, and I said, you know what? I told my ex to leave me alone. We slept in the same bed for 7 weeks, no contact, no eye contact, nothing. It was like she wasn't even laying next to me. And it sounds kind of weird, but I had to check out like that because of the negativity that was around me. I literally left the house, went to Vegas. I remember driving into Vegas, just had a happy feeling in my heart. I felt so happy because I put in a hard work. I went to Michael Bisping. He was doing The Ultimate Fighter, and the guys that are on The Ultimate Fighter were like, Tito, man, can you show us how you do that gravedigger thing? I was like, no, you guys can see that on Saturday when I beat Ryan Bader.
Oh, yeah.
And they all looked at me like, no, really, can you just, like they assumed I was going to lose.
Yeah.
I would just watch it happen. And I remember hitting Bader with the right hook, and he dropped him, and I got him in a choke, and I almost choked him unconscious. And I remember the referee trying to rip me off, and I just thought, don't let go of this guy. Don't let go of this guy.
It was a guillotine, right?
And it was a guillotine choke, and it was like a lion getting his first kill forever, and finally feed his family. And I remember him ripping me off. And first thing that popped in my mind was those kids, Tito, do the gravedigger.
Yeah,
and I
awesome,
did it.
man.
And let me tell you, that night it changed my life. I was able to fight 4 more fights after that. I remember waking up, I was staying at the Wynn, and the shutters in my room opened up because it was in the early morning, and a big bright light shined through my window, and it was the sun that hit me. And my grandfather on my mom's side was a priest for Pacific Palisades. And I remember before he passed, I was wrestling. He's like, now, Tito, you understand, I think this wrestling is going to do real good for you. So every time I've been through my life, there's always been some situation and something like that has happened where it feels like him looking over me.
Yeah.
And I literally just started crying, man. And it wasn't a cry of like fear or anything. It was just a cry of happiness. And I said, thank you. It was just one of those things that it was given back to a good man. I did such great things, and I made a sacrifice for my child and for my kids, for their future. And now life came full circle, and I'm happy. And I look back at that win, and that's what changed my life in 2011.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because we were talking earlier. That literally
story.
100% got me the most excited than any win you have ever had.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it almost compared to me winning the world title. But when I won the world title, I beat Vanderlei Silva. Yeah, and he was a vicious
axe murderer.
Axe murderer.
Yep.
He was vicious. I mean, I was afraid of the man. But that win had to be number one just because of everything that was on the line, everything that I sacrificed for it, and everything I put into it. And, life's not easy, people. I mean, anyone listen, life is not easy. It's challenging. It's going to challenge us every day. And if it doesn't challenge you, you're not working hard enough, and you're not setting your goals high enough, and you got to try to achieve the best you possibly can be. And don't set for be normal. Don't set for mediocrity. Look outside the box and find something that thrives you. So find something that makes you fall in love to doing things. Either it's sex, either it's relationships, either it's business, either it's just the hard work you want to put into life in general, but something that got to get you motivated. And what gets me motivated is my children, watching my children mature and become little men. And one of them was my replica, man. It's a trip. And the other one is just so damn smart. He's too smart for his own good. And my oldest is my replica also, but just with blue eyes and blonde hair, and it's crazy. He has a blonde afro, which is just drives me nuts.
It's unique.
He's so unique. But I mean, I love my kids, man. I mean, there's nothing in the world I love more than my children. I mean, I love fighting. I love business. I love everything that I do, but my kids are number one.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for being part of Green Talk by Green Care Solutions. You are honestly a great one of all of our favorite MMA fighters and champions, and it's an honor to have you on Green Talk by Green Care Solutions. And it's so great to hear your personal stories because you are genuinely a good person, and I love that you're a good father and a great role model. Because you could be famous and not they work hard, but maybe not a role model. But you truly have a heart of gold, I think, personally.
You. No, you are pretty correct. I just, like I say, man, I have 2 things the rest of my life. I'll have my name and I'll have my word. No time at all I'm ever going to tarnish my name, and there's no time at all I ever will break my word. And I teach my children that same thing through respect and values, and opening doors for girls and just being very, very respectful men. And that's what I'm trying to give to this world is respectful men to the society, and that's what I'm building.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Well, thank you everyone for watching and listening to Green Talk by Green Care Solutions. I'm your host, Yanitza Munoz. You can find me at Yanitza Munoz. It's spelled right here under the screen. And again, Tito, what is your social media handle?
Tito Ortiz at Twitter, and of course on Instagram is Tito Ortiz 1999, and Facebook Tito Ortiz.
Basically, Tito Ortiz. You guys can find him everywhere. Yes, and I'm here with my lovely co-host and also our guest co-host. He's also a TV personality and radio personality of his own show.
Yes, Domenick Nati, Domenick, Nati, Nati. Social media is Dom Nati Show.
His show's very entertaining, by the way.
Yes.
You are like better
Not quite
than
like
TMZ.
this one. I was really well behaved because I know that your
but your show's pretty wild. It's fun.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. This has been great. Thank you.
No problem. I'm here with my lovely co-host.
It's been Brian Gonzalez representing Green Care Solutions as always, and follow us on Instagram at Green Care Solutions 420.
And it's your girl, Angela Mazzanti. You can find me on Instagram at Angela _Mazzanti. And then also, I do have a new song out now. We released it for Suicide Awareness Month. All the proceeds are going to suicide awareness causes. You can find that under my boy High Rise's page, and you can stream it on all social media platforms and share it with your friends in hopes to get more money to a good cause.
Yes, and I'll be playing her song after the show as well.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you everyone for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Adios.
Domains, yeah, I tally my problems beneath both my hands. I'm plotting an end of my plans, you tell by the blood in my veins. The scars on my wrist, I doubled in digits. Bruise on my fist, I swung for a villain. A second to end it, I thought for a minute. And I show 'em, I swear to God, I show 'em.